Ever wondered what was on the menu for our earliest ancestors? We often picture them as mighty hunters, but the real story is a bit more resourceful. For a long time, before we were the top of the food chain, we were opportunistic scavengers. Picture this: a massive saber-toothed cat makes a kill, eats its fill, and moves on. Who's lurking in the bushes, waiting for a chance? US early humans would sneak in, armed with nothing but rocks, to crack open bones and get to the nutrient-rich marrow and scrape off the last bits of meat left behind. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a game changer. Welcome to FoodSaga. Like, subscribe, and comment for more. Let's start. This was our first real taste of high-quality protein and fat, a taste that would change our destiny forever. We weren't hunting yet, but we were learning. We were observing the predators, understanding their habits, and realizing that meat was a powerful source of energy. This scavenging phase was the critical first step on our journey from being the hunted to becoming the hunters. It was a risky business, dodging predators to get a meal, but it ignited a spark in our evolutionary path. This new food source, however risky to get, was just too good to pass up. The problem was, waiting for a lion to finish its lunch isn't a reliable meal plan. Survival demanded a more proactive approach, so we started to innovate. It began simply with sharpening the edges of stones. A simple flake of flint might not look like much, but to our ancestors, it was a revolutionary piece of tech. It could slice through hide and muscle far better than teeth or fingernails ever could. This was the dawn of the Stone Age toolkit. These first crude tools allowed us to be better scavengers, getting more meat off a carcass more quickly. But then, a brilliant idea took hold. What if we could use these tools not just to process animals, but to bring them down ourselves? This shift in thinking was monumental. It marks the transition from scavenger to active hunter. It wasn't an overnight change, but a gradual process of trial, error, and learning. The first hunts were likely chaotic and dangerous, probably targeting smaller, slower animals. But with every attempt, we learned more about animal behavior, our own limitations, and the power of the tools we were creating. The drive to secure our own meat pushed our ingenuity to new heights. Simple sharpened rocks evolved. We learned to shape stones with more precision, creating hand axes that were the Swiss Army knives of the Paleolithic era, good for chopping, scraping, and digging. Then came the real leap, putting a sharp point on the end of a stick. The first spears, initially, these were probably simple sharpened wooden sticks, hardened in fire. They extended our reach, allowing us to fend off predators and poke at prey from a safer distance. Imagine the courage it took to face an animal with just a pointy stick. But then we combined our key technologies, stone and wood. By attaching a sharpened stone point, a spearhead, to a wooden shaft, we created a truly formidable weapon. This composite tool was a massive technological advancement. It had better penetration, was more durable, and could be thrown, giving us a ranged advantage for the first time. We were no longer just a threat up close, we were a danger from afar. This invention didn't just make us better hunters. It fundamentally changed our relationship with the world around us. We were becoming masters of our environment, one tool at a time. With better tools came bigger ambitions. While a single hunter might take down a small deer, taking on a giant mammoth or a herd of bison was a different challenge entirely. These massive animals represented a huge payoff: enough meat, fat, and fur to sustain a whole group for weeks. But they were also incredibly dangerous. This is where the next great human superpower came into play: cooperation. To hunt big game, our ancestors had to work together. This wasn't just a group of individuals running at an animal. It was a coordinated effort. It required a plan. It required communication, perhaps not with complex language as we know it, but with gestures, sounds, and a shared understanding of the goal. Some members of the group might be responsible for driving the animal towards a cliff or a pre-dug pit. Others might be waiting in ambush with spears. Everyone had a role. This level of teamwork was a profound evolutionary step. It strengthened social bonds, required trust, and fostered a sense of shared purpose. The hunt became a community project, and the success of the hunt was a victory for the entire group. This social cooperation was just as important as the spears in our hands. It was the glue that held our early societies together. The addition of meat to our diet did more than just fill our stomachs. It literally built our modern bodies and brains. Plant-based diets are great, but they often lack certain essential amino acids and fatty acids that are abundant in meat. When our ancestors started regularly consuming meat and marrow, they got a massive influx of high-quality protein and fats, particularly omega-3 south, which are like rocket fuel for brain development. Our brains are incredibly energy-hungry organs, and this new, dense energy source allowed them to grow larger and more complex over generations. This is what scientists call the protein revolution. A bigger brain meant better problem-solving, more sophisticated tool-making, and improved social communication. At the same time, this protein-powered muscle growth, making us stronger and more effective hunters. It was a powerful feedback loop. Hunting provided the fuel for bigger brains and stronger bodies, and bigger brains and stronger bodies made us better hunters. This dietary shift is arguably one of the most important events in our entire evolutionary history, paving the way for everything that makes us human today. As hunting became central to our survival, it began to shape our culture in deep and lasting ways. It wasn't just a way to get food, it became a defining activity of our species. The hunt was filled with risk and drama, making it the perfect subject for stories told around the campfire. We see this reflected in the incredible cave paintings found around the world, where our ancestors depicted vivid scenes of hunts. These weren't just decorations. They were likely part of rituals, a way to teach hunting techniques to the next generation, or perhaps to magically ensure a successful hunt. The hunt also began to shape our social structures. Often it created a division of labor, with men who were on average larger and more expendable from a reproductive standpoint taking on the risks of the big game hunt, while women focused on gathering plants, caring for children, and processing the kill. This isn't a rigid rule, but a pattern we see in many hunter-gatherer societies. The hunt forged community identity. A successful hunter earned respect and status. The sharing of the meat reinforced social bonds and obligations. Hunting wove itself into the fabric of our rituals, our societies, and our very identity. So from a nervous scavenger cracking bones on the savannah to a coordinated team of hunters capable of taking down a woolly mammoth, our journey with meat has been a long and transformative one. It's a story of innovation, driven by the need to eat. Sharpening a rock was the first step. Combining it with a stick was a leap forward. But the greatest tool of all was our ability to work together, to plan, to communicate, and to share. This journey fueled the growth of our brains, built our societies, and shaped our cultures. The next time you sit down for a meal, take a moment to think about that deep history. The story of our species is written in the tools we made, the cooperation we mastered, and the food that gave us the energy to become who we are today. It is a powerful reminder that our greatest achievements have always been born from a blend of ingenuity and community. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story of our ancient ancestors as fascinating as I do, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And for more deep dives into the story of us, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Thanks for watching FoodSaga.